Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's advanced room session here at XM Live. Together with me, Sylvia Barrock. In today's session, I would like to go through the current market to discuss with you what's going on and see if we can find some nice setups. So, for those of you that are new here, welcome to that session and also to that channel as well. And feel free to bring up also your ideas, guys, those that are with me here on in our chat. So bring your ideas. Let me know if you have any instruments you're looking at. Otherwise, we're going to start with the US markets because the market just opened 30 minutes ago. And we see here a little bit, we do see a little bit more of a rotation, if I may call it like that, because like the Dow is trying to break out, was green yesterday. US 500 and US 100 are breaking down, so they're coming lower. And a lot of times I've seen this happening, that the US 500 and the US 100 go for a while straight up while the Dow is doing nothing. And then at some point they get choppy, pull back, and the Dow takes off. And I think this is exactly what we see right now. So we see that the Dow is starting to take over. And I do believe we see here a little bit more of a sector rotation, meaning potentially people or bigger investors, institutional traders are pulling money out of technology tech stocks and putting it into some other assets. And that's absolutely normal. So, like, there's nothing here untypical that I haven't seen. And especially after a rally like this, what we've seen here, especially on the NASDAQ since April, I think it's absolutely healthy to see a little bit more of a correction. So, since April, I'm going to tell you how far we went. We went 20%, guys, 19% up. So again, and that's April. We're talking about, April, May, and we're in the middle of June, like 2 months, 20% on this index is a lot. So normally on average, it goes 30%. So sometimes less, sometimes more, of course. But the point here is it goes really, like, it went crazy in the last 2 months. And that's why I do expect to see a little bit more of a pullback. I expect to see a little drop here. I don't like shorting that instrument personally, but I believe we're going to see a tiny bit of a pullback here on that one. And same is with US 500. That's a little more balanced than the NASDAQ, of course. It has the 500 biggest names here, and it went since April, 23rd of April, 12%. So not as huge as a move, but still a pretty decent move for the US 500, for the S&P. So that's really a big move as well. Again, on average, it goes around 20%, maybe not every year, of course, it's different, but it's a big move on these two. And I believe we're going to see a little bit of pullback here, and it's healthy and good to happen. While again, on the other hand, if we look at the US 30, the Dow, it's been not really going much since April. So I'm gonna take that to measure this again. Let me see where it is. May, April. So that was around here with the other ones. That just only went 6%, turned around and came down. So now it has the time to shine, so to say. And it looks like we're breaking out here. So again, a little bit of a difference, and it's happening sometimes, and that's totally fine, I think. This, by the way, guys, is something you definitely have to pay attention to if you're trading stocks, if you're trading sectors. Personally, I trade tech stocks, technology. This is one of my favorite strategies to trade. And so, because of that, I pay attention to these things, because when you start seeing rotation like that, you have to reduce your exposure. So, if you have like too much exposure on the tech stocks, or you have too many tech stocks, it's time to reduce it, cut the risk, like don't overdo it, don't start like adding and going wild here, because again, 20% on the Nasdaq is huge, and if it pulls back, I think we might see like something like 5% or so. That's absolutely healthy. And we see on other big names, especially Nvidia, is pulling back too, like dropped over here, gap down a little bit, and of course that is also the reason for these indices and tech pulling down. So that being said, um, let me see what we have here on the chat. Noma, welcome back to the session. And Morgan, nice to see you as well here on this session. Morgan is saying, what is happening on US 30 cash? The cash, let's see the cash. I just showed the futures because the June future expired here on that platform yesterday. So yesterday was no more available to trade. And I trade personally the futures because they don't have fees overnight for overnight holding. So I do like these more compared to the cash. The cash, similar, like we discussed that, pretty much same, looks the same. So again, I think this is a rotation here. Money is flowing from one sector to the other, and we might see a little bit of a difference here for the next probably a few months or so. I don't know, or maybe not months. Let's say weeks. I don't know, but that's what I think. And we'll go from there. I personally still have on some other accounts the US 30. I had the YM or the US 30 long position here. Unfortunately, the problem with futures, so like the advantage of trading them here on the platform is that you can, you can actually make a pretty good trades and hold without paying fees overnight. On the downside, when the future expires, your positions are being closed automatically. So that's what happened with my position. It's not a bad thing. You just need to be aware of that. So that's all. While the cash, of course, it's still doing pretty well. So that's what's going on. I got good move in gold short from 2366, still holding my short, and Bitcoin. Okay, let's go ahead and see now gold. I have long on gold. Let me see what's going on with my trade. Yeah, my trade is going nowhere. Thank you for bringing this up, Noma. And like I said, guys, I've been discussing this a few times here with gold. The current situation is that we're in a distribution, and this is the top of the range, and this here is the lower part of the range. And normally, what happens after a big move like this is a huge move here to the upside. After a big move like that, you will see a little bit more of a sideways price action, choppy price action. And it does look like we are going into a distribution here. So my stop loss is below this green candle right here, and I longed here this breakout. And I have the smallest size possible, by the way, here because I don't 100% like that setup. And there are a few reasons for that. So first of all, we're in a distribution. We see that with a few signs here. We see we had a failed breakout. We see we had a bunch of bigger red candles, failed bounce, so it couldn't follow through that bounce and continue. Dropped with one big red candle again, went sideways. So it's still in this range, this big range, and the bigger range is even here, these two, like I said, and that. So how can you trade that? You can definitely trade range, but personally, when I trade range, especially in a distribution, which is more challenging, I prefer to see at the very low part of the range. So like if it drops here and reverses with a reversal candle, that would be the entry for me. That would be the better entry because it already like broke below, tested it, and reverses back up. In the middle of the range, this is almost in the middle of the range. The way I traded it is not the best scenario because it can go in both directions. And when you have a distribution, normally you have more choppy type of a price action. You have back and forth price action, and it's a little too, like wild to trade. That's why you don't know which direction is it gonna pick up or down. And trading the distribution, you have to be at the very end of the support zones or at the resistance zones. If you're trading in the middle, your chances for success are decreasing. So that's number one. The reason I traded it is because I saw a little bit of a curling price action, started to go slowly up. But then again, my concern with that trade was these a few red candles distribution, and it's still in the range of that red candle here in a smaller range too. And I thought this might, reverse. And exactly what's happening. We see that exactly. My concern was here is happening actually. Anyways, that's why I manage, if I trade these positions personally, I manage them through sizing, meaning if I normally risk, let's say, 1% of my account, if I trade that, I'm going to risk 0.1% of my account because of the setup, because if it's not the picture perfect setup and I don't like it 100%, but I still want to give it a chance, I'm going to reduce extremely the size to the minimum so that I can't lose too much here. Okay. So good job on your short, Noma. That is good. So see, this is how you can trade in both directions, guys. There is nothing wrong with that. And then Bitcoin, previous day drop. Yeah, it is dropping definitely because of, like it had multiple signs, failed, and I said it many times ago too. I believe that too, that it has failed breakout, failed bounces, a lot of red here happening. And it might even, excuse me, it might even continue further lower. Like if it goes below the low here, below that candle, the green one, that could be even a potential short with a continuation further lower. Because it dropped, it went up so much, I think a healthy pullback can be due here. And if we went through this big uptrend. Now we're in a distribution. If it breaks the lows, we can go in a at least shorter term downtrend. So I don't know how long, but it could happen. So I think it's a good idea to be prepared on both directions. So that's why I'm saying, like, in a distribution, you don't only have to trade in the trend direction. You can also do a counter trend trading, but you just must be aware where you're at, where is the range, and how far did it go and so forth. So you can definitely trade also counter trend trades. This here would have been a very good short as well, by the way. Okay, and you see, like for me personally, when I trade in a distribution, I got here very nice entry and exit, but then the next one was a very small, no, that was a small loss. And this one here, if it breaks below, is going to be a small loss too. So you see, that's the problem for me, at least with the distribution type of a behavior. It just goes sideways and chops around, and this is causing too many stops. That's why the way I manage that is through the way I like managing is definitely through some position sizing. So position sizing strategies. Okay. So that being said, let's see Bitcoin, because Noma brought Bitcoin, and let me see where we're at with Bitcoin. I think you had a short, if I remember, Noma, right? It was short, you said yesterday. Yeah, holding from 73.44 short. Let me see. I think it's great. Yeah, as long as you can trail. I don't know where is it gonna stop, of course, no one knows that, but as long as you can trail the stop, it's fine, because that was a failed breakout too. That was a good entry here, a signal with a stop loss above. And after that, all this was inside bars, nothing to do actually here. Maybe here the stop loss, inside bars, nothing to do. I would just trail that. As long as it continues further lower, I think you're good. All you can do is just trail the stop here and see where it can end up. Maybe it goes all the way down here to the support, which is also the 200 EMA, exponential moving average. I see that as a realistic scenario. This could happen. So yes, I think it's a great trait actually. You got it here from the top, and same thing here. You guys have to definitely learn to, for those of you, of course, that are new, to read the cycles, and we can see that very clear too. That was a very nice uptrend, and then right after that, like I mentioned, if you have especially a big move like that, that is going straight up and having a lot of momentum, a lot of times what will happen is you'll have choppiness and distributive behavior, and that's exactly what happened. It went straight up and then it started to go lower, breaking down, then all of a sudden tried to go up, then breaking down again.